Welcome back. I'm so excited to host this book club session at Virtual Experience Series 2023 PMXPO. Today, you'll learn about the future of work and discover new ways to empower your future. We're about to explore how to navigate operational efficiency and combat workplace burnout during uncertain times with author Nick Sonnenberg as we discuss his new book, Come Up for Air: How Teams Can Leverage Systems and Tools to Stop Drowning in Work. Nick is the founder and CEO of Leverage, a leading operational efficiency consultancy, which helps organizations implement his CPR framework, which we're going to get into. In addition to being an author and entrepreneur, Nick is a speaker, columnist, guest lecturer at Columbia University, and an avid chess player. Get ready to take some notes because I know there are going to be a lot of amazing insights you're going to want to apply to your own projects and team strategies. Welcome, Nick.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here today. I really enjoyed your book, and it's so relevant to the work we all do. Please tell us a little bit about what draws you to operational efficiency.
Well, I've always felt that time is our most valuable asset. Everyone, no matter if you're a billionaire or broke, you have 24 hours in the day, 7 days a week. You never get that time back. So to me, it's the most precious asset that we have. And I want to make sure that we use it to the highest and best use. I've always been obsessed with time, and I've always been in some type of industry or career where there was a time component, whether I was as a trader and I'm looking at extremely high frequency trades and automating all my trades, or if it's running a company like Leverage. When I look at teams, it really hurts me to see someone doing an activity that doesn't give them joy or tap into their unique ability. And when I look at companies and teams, such a large percentage, like 20 to 50% of people's time is spent on low-level activities, searching for a document that's misorganized, or a meeting that didn't need to be a meeting, or inefficiently using email. So there's so much waste that could be completely fixed and repurposed into activities that give people joy, tap into their unique ability. And ultimately, I want to save millions and millions of hours of people's time. So yeah, that's why I did it.
I think that, well, you know this, we're kindred spirits. I love operational efficiency, saving time, even an hour is so valuable to all of us. I will say that I felt like I had a toolbox, and now reading your book, I feel like I have a garage of opportunities. So thank you for that.
It's not just every hour counts, like every second counts, right? Because every second, if you're doing something that you do 60 times a day and you save a second because you've optimized one step, that's a minute a day, 5 minutes a week, 20 minutes a month. At the end of the year, that's 4 hours. And that's just for you. So if you have a team of 20 or 100, that could be 80 or 400 hours of time savings by saving just 1 second. So for me, a lot of this stuff is the sum of small gains. It's not just, here's a tool, you're going to save 5 hours or 10 hours. Sometimes you can do it, but oftentimes it's really just celebrating small wins that people aren't doing.
How did you come up with the CPR framework, and what's the backstory behind it?
Absolutely. So CPR stands for communicate, plan, and resource. Those are the 3 buckets that I found in my experience running Leverage, and then all the clients that we've worked with and teams we've worked with. Every team or every organization out there needs to communicate internally with their team, externally with clients. You need to plan. So no matter what industry, what size, you have tasks, you have projects, work needs to get done, right? And as project managers, no one knows this better, right? But you need to be able to, in one click or a couple clicks, be able to answer basic questions like, what do I need to do today? What's past due? What's the status of this project? There shouldn't be that much friction to answer some of these basic questions. Yet, in so many teams and organizations, these basic questions aren't so basic to answer. And then lastly, you have resources, you have knowledge, you have SOPs, you have processes. You want to have these things well organized and easy to find so that, one, you don't have risk. You don't want a team member to leave and all of their knowledge leaves out the door the moment that they're gone. But two, you don't want to waste time answering questions that people could go and look up for themselves. And Kara, I've developed this framework basically out of survival. Years ago, I had a business partner that tapped me on the shoulder when we were working one day and told me that he's leaving. And he wasn't leaving in 2 weeks or 2 days. He was leaving in 2 minutes. And so we're at this coffee shop and I'm like, go white basically, because at that moment we had grown really quickly, but we had a lot of issues under the hood. And in the forthcoming months after he left, we lost 40% of clients. I was cashing out my 401k. My dad's taking a second mortgage on his house to loan me for payroll. I mean, it was a nightmare. We had 150 people fully remote in the first year, and we had a lot of problems under the hood. And so I had the choice whether to bankrupt the company or to try to fix it. And so ultimately, after many late nights and analyzing kind of what we needed to do to turn it around, I just started realizing like we were really poor at communication. There was like all of these notifications. It was disorganized and it was taking up so much time. Slack messages and disorganized channels, hundreds of emails. So I was like, okay, we got to solve this communication bucket because I'm drowning in comms. Then on the project management side of things, it was hard for me to know what people were working on or what the status of things were. So I knew I needed in 1 or 2 clicks to be able to just know what's going on here. And I couldn't. So I knew I needed to solve that. And then lastly, on the documenting knowledge, we were already pretty good at that. Otherwise, we probably would have gone bankrupt. But I knew that that was an important component. So I didn't yet kind of have this acronym CP&R, which, by the way, no pun intended with my new book, Come Up for Air, CPR. But I knew that those were buckets to focus on. And so I went about it. I decided to stick it out. And slowly but surely, things did start improving to the point that people started reaching out to me, asking me to consult them, because originally our business model was totally different. We were a freelancer marketplace doing tasks and projects for a client. So still in the time saving space, but we weren't doing operational efficiency consulting and training like we're doing now. But as I'm cleaning up leverage, and people like Tony Robbins and Poopery and smaller companies and bigger companies all started reaching out, I started seeing the same pattern that was broken in my company that had opportunity to be fixed in all these other companies. And it didn't matter size or industry. Everyone needed to communicate better. Everyone used email. Everyone had teams that needed to communicate with internal communication tools. Everyone had tasks and projects, the P, and everyone had SOPs. Everyone hires people. Everyone does payroll. Everyone offboards people. So everyone has processes. Everyone has standard operating procedures. So I just realized this really profound, strong pattern that everyone faced the very same issues at a high level. And so many people ask me, what's the best tool for project management? What's the best tool for this? In the book, we talk about preferences, but the main thing is that people understand the purpose of a project management tool versus a communications tool versus documenting knowledge. So many people are hacking these tools to solve problems they're not built for. And so that's what I lay out in my book, which is what's the purpose of each of these tools? What types of tools fit into these buckets? Not just how to use them, but more importantly, when to use them.